team in the audience that you would like to introduce?
Yeah, thank you. And please, who is from our team and is here, we'd like to invite you to come here so you can introduce you. Marcelo is here. A film made during 9 years, and of course it was only possible through the support of many people and friends, but mainly through exchange collaboration work with friends. So it's not just formality for here. People, cinematographer. Susanna KIRÁLY, associate producer. Bernardo ZANOTTA, assistant director. Bea Rodrigues, still photography. And Michelle Balaguer, associate producer and additional camera also. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, maybe we start with what you just mentioned, that this film was made over a very long period of time, encompassing basically your time, or the time starting with your move to Berlin. We can see from the footage that you were basically constantly working, maybe not on this final film or with this film in mind, but you are constantly creating and making images. I wonder, or my question would be, when did you reach the decision that now we have enough material to tell this story, tell our story, version of our story? When did you reach that moment, or was it always sort of like a goal that you were working towards, or was it more, we have all this material, we have to do something?
No, there was a moment. I mean, when we came from South Brazil, we were living in Porto Alegre, city in South Brazil, and then we decided that we wanted to come in a ship. We didn't knew at that point how long we would stay in Berlin, but we knew that we were moving for good. So it was important for us to have some time between the old life in South Brazil and the new life in Berlin. So the ship crossing, it was like the perfect interlude, this time in between. And we thought, okay, let's begin, and no, let's shoot a film in the ship. Actually, the whole film was supposed to be in the ship. We would call the film of the ship. Once we arrived in Berlin, we continued shooting. It began with visual associations. You have some images that are in the film that are from this very early period in Berlin. For example, we were living in our first flat. There was a cemetery in front of it, so we would watch the workers clean the cemetery, and reminded us of the workers on the ship, cleaning the ship that we would see from our cabin. So we began like that, and then we started to stage some mini fictions, this scene that you see when we are like crawling, going up the river, and then we continued, and at one moment we thought about a narrative structure that would be made by the crossing, by all this material that worked more on an experimental level that we were shooting since the beginning in Berlin, but then we thought about staging and fictionalizing our arrival and our first years until the present moment. At that moment, Melissa got a scholarship, grant from Kunstlerinnen Program, and she wrote most of the scenes. Some were wrote before, but most of the scenes that you see that happen in the bedroom. Then we had this idea that everything would, we would bring the city inside our bedroom, so everything would be seen through the perspective of the bedroom. And then we had this structure, but we still we couldn't see the film, how it would look like. And then, a bit more than 2 years ago, we saw a film from a friend of ours that he was mixing archive material with like from Hollywood films with documentary material, and we saw the operation that he was doing was a collage. And then we looked to our material, we said, okay, now this film you can do. If we see our material, the ship and we didn't shot at that moment. We still didn't had not shot the fictional part. Sorry, and a bit nervous. And but now that's the thing is like when we saw the film as a collage of as a product of the accumulation of images, sound, objects, clothes, people, experience that we had in these 8-9 years, then we said, okay, this we can do it. And that was the moment, and then we got a crew together and we shot the fictional part and edited like over 1 year. Yeah.
So you were basically using your own material in a sense, like an archive in a way, and as footage. You were treating it as footage.
Yeah, for sure. Not only what you see in the room was shot for the film, but yeah, mostly what we shot. It's hard to separate because it was such a long process, and we always talked about this film of the ship. It was always there. So this episode, we were performing them as a triple projection here in the cinema once. Fluxus, it was called for a long time. So Muito Romantico then was when we put everything together, it became something else. Most of the text that is in it is from these notebooks that you see in the scene where Lily, the actress, opens it. So it's most of the music and the artworks, it's all things that we rearranged, but they are our own stuff. We thought to do this film using what we have, what we always do normally, because we are auto-financed and self-produced artists, but this time even more. We said we will shoot this that is already written, we will use the material we have, and yes, we wrote some new scenes just before shooting. You know, we put the last part of the film, the end of it, it was created almost while shooting. So there is also some things that we created and shot them new. But we saw it as a collage and as a way to use all the material and all the experience that we accumulated in these years and to find a form for it. And it feels good now.
Yeah, I mean, this idea of things being in constant flux, I think the motif of travel is very prevalent in your work. Or let's say, a lot of the films of yours that I know, they are connected with going elsewhere. You know, you shot in Moscow, Lithuania, if I'm not mistaken. We showed a film here in Form Expanded that was shot in Cairo. So there's a constant sense of travel. There's also a sense of building an international community that then sort of also informs future projects to come. And it's about a movement in space, and then here I feel that in a way it's about you being in a place, and the characters in the films somehow seem stuck sometimes, or they're being, you know, they're weighed down by all the material and all the objects that are accumulating. I think it's very a great scene is where your character is sort of underneath all this pile of stuff in the bed, and then all of a sudden the portal opens, and then the travel becomes more of an interdimensional or time travel. Yeah, that's not leading to a question, but maybe you want to pick up on that.
No, it's right. We see the films that we do as we create a situation, and then traveling, it's a easy way, or it's a very precise way to do that. When we went to Cairo, we go to Cairo and say we're going to make a film in Cairo, and then the traveling, the going there, the people that we meet there, the situations that we enter, that they become more or less the film, or they influence the film. And our work has this pattern, you could say, since some years, that we create situations, and then from these situations we develop a film. And in this film it's the same thing, but it's a situation that it expanded in 9 years. But when we decided to come with the ship, it was already this idea that we would make a film about it, with it. And then when we were here, we very consciously mix erase or blur the border between our life and our work. It's the way we work, yeah. And then traveling became how could you say, a device to put that in motion, to put this kind of process in motion. For sure, it's almost in our films you have traveling either in a concrete way or a more abstract way, like more mental. But yeah.